We've got a lot to cover: high school football, some college shakeups, and NFL drama. I'm your host, Jordan Barrett, joined by the quarterback, Brandon Bullins. Brandon, how you doing this morning, man? All right. I think we got a little bit of connection issues with Brandon, but this week it was week 5 around high school football. Man, our game of the week took us out to Reedsville, where Walkertown, the Walkertown Wolfpack took on the Reedsville Rams. And man, it was not. Oh, there you go. What's up, Brandon? How you doing this morning, man? Oh, we got some audio. All right, I think you're good now. But how you doing this morning, man?
Good man. Another interesting week of football. I just
Yeah.
saw the graphic there between Reidsville and Walkertown. That was definitely a highly anticipated game.
No, yeah. I definitely didn't think this game was gonna come out the way it did, but we'll get into it. Because there's definitely a lot of interesting scores around high school this week, just around the state. Um, Walkertown in this game would actually get on the board first. Um, they had about a 30-40 yard touchdown pass. Um, but after that, it got a little rough for them. Reedsville, a few possessions later, came back. Quarterback broke a long run, and then they had a 5 yard touchdown run from their running back. But they pretty much dominated it from there. Um, Reedsville, they had a late score their second late in the second quarter, or yeah, late in the second quarter, and then they had a pick. They had a pick. It was almost a pick six. They returned it within the inside the 5, and they just never looked back from there. I think the score is a little bit closer than what it may have played out as. Um, but just Brandon, like Walkertown was putting up 40 points a game. I think up until before this game, when they only had 28, they probably scored. I think the lowest scoring game they had 41, and I think that was the second game of the season.
Mhm.
So just what about this game kind of stands out to you?
Well, first and foremost, I think it shows that Reidsville is still a very dominant team. Obviously,
Yeah.
Walkertown being a newer team in terms of um, offensive success or just success in general. I think Coach Honeycutt over there has done a great job of turning that program around.
Yeah.
They got some really good transfer players in, and they've been able to prove, at least in the local area, that they were really dominant. Obviously, Reedsville's a little bit farther out, but it's been historically been a really strong team.
Hmm.
So I think Reedsville just came out, like you said, they knew they were going to have their hands full, at least early on, but I think they expected to kind of pull away, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought what's his name definitely had a what's his name, Keandre Harrison. He's like the number one tight end in the class.
Yep.
5-star kid committed to Oregon. He had a bit of an impact on this game, and I kind of think there've been there've been too many games this year where he's kind of gone, like he just hasn't. I mean, being a 5 star kid, where he's ranked, rated where he's rated, all eyes are going to be on you coming into the game. But I think this
Hmm.
game he really left a imprint and impact on the game. Um, I just if you're a Walkertown though, and this is the first really your first conference game, and you start off the conference with a loss, like where do you kind of go from here? Like how do you think this kind of affects their season?
Yeah, so for the obviously the hope is to win a conference championship, and so
Mm,
I think they still have everything in front of them that they want, but they have to control their own destiny at this point. And with that, they're also going to have a little bit of help to have an outright win of the conference title.
yeah,
Obviously, they can split it at this point, or if Reedsville ends up taking a couple more losses within the conference, then Walkertown would be standalone at the top. But nonetheless, they have to go out and win every game from here on out within the conference to still have a shot at the conference title.
no, yeah, I think it was interesting, like you said. To we were kind of talking about it last week. Um, Reedsville was 2-2. A lot of people may have looked at Reedsville and just said, "Oh, what's wrong with Reedsville? Like, why are they 2-2?" But they played a lot tougher competition than what they would face in conference, which is kind of like what you were talking about. I think we're going to get to some of the other games around the state, but um, there were a lot of games where it was teams based on record. You wouldn't necessarily think the outcome would have been what it was. Um, but just I was really hoping to get Amari Mitchell on here. He plays receiver and corner for Walkertown. I got an interview with him. Y'all go check that out on the YouTube page. But I really just wonder what the message is in that locker room as they get ready for Rockingham County next week. Just because, like going from a team that's putting up 40 points a game to having a game as a quarterback where you almost have a pick six and you kind of took your team out of the game. I'm not gonna say you lost the game because, as we know, no one play loses the football game.
Hmm.
Um, but just as a quarterback, Brandon, what would you kind of say? You like what are you? I mean, of course, you got to flush this game. You kind of gotta. It is what it is. Now that it's over. But what is kind of the message as a leader on this team? Like, what would be your message to the team going forward?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, you have to take accountability in the game. Obviously,
Yeah,
like you said, there's no one play that can determine a game, but there are bigger plays in games than others,
there
right?
is.
Like
Yeah,
the PAT is sure it's an extra point, but the touchdown beforehand is still a bigger play in a sense, right?
yeah,
So same thing on the flip side of it, the 3 yard gain on a rush play versus the pick that almost turns into a pick six, like that's a bigger play as a whole, right? So you have to take accountability for it, reassure your guys, like, hey, that was a mistake on my end. I made the wrong read, and obviously it cost the team. I just want you guys to continue to have the faith in me that you had before that play even happened, and I promise you, it's going to be a mistake that I learned from and that we're going to move forward from as a team. I think that has to be
yeah,
overall the message, and I think it needs to be really sung top all the way down from the head coach down to the assistant coaches and even down to the players. I think that would be a really good message all the way through and through.
yeah. No, yeah. Is would you what do you consider really getting beat? I think if you get beat by 2 scores, you got beat, you got handled pretty well. And so
Yeah.
just after being so dominant in your out of conference schedule, I just I would love to be a fly on the wall to hear what that meeting is like on Monday, because like you said though, the season isn't over by any means. But just to be as dominant as you were, I mean, granted, you're playing Reedsville. Like this is a state championship level team. Um, and so I guess you kind of just take what you can from this game. Um, but you got anything else on this one?
No, I think that just the last overall point is that yeah, it's a two-score game, but once again, you look at the mistakes that Walkertown made, and even the
Yeah,
same thing for Reedsville. Go back, both of them are going to say like, "Hey, we do this, this, and this better. This is a three-score game our way for Reedsville," or be like, "Hey, for Walkertown, if we do this, this, and this is a one-score game now, and now we actually have a really good chance to
yeah,
go out and at least tie it up or even win the game." So
yeah, yeah. I especially after that first scoring drive that Walker Town got out to, I thought that they were they were going to really make it a game. And I think it's still like respectable the fact that you went out and put up 28 points, even with some of
Mhm.
the miscues on offense. So it's not that you have a scoring problem. It's like you said, those little things that we can fix, and it's just a matter of execution.
For sure.
But just looking at some of the other games from around the state, boy, oh boy. After a week off, Grimsley came back like I get they shouldn't even have had a week off. That gave them too much time to prepare for this one. They would beat Southwest Guilford 65-0. Um, in a top 25 matchup. Huff really that's two tough losses for New Bern in a row. Last week they had Cleveland put up 50 on them. Then they had another 50 put on them, and I just don't know what you. I think they didn't have. I think last week their head coach was out, but just what is your like? I guess we'll get to we'll get to some of the games. Drew, if you could pull that graphic back up, what we'll get to some of those games that like just looking at the games overall. But Mallard Creek was able to slide past Cardinal Gibbons 20-17. Weddington beats Charlotte Catholic 42-7. In a surprising one out in Charlotte, Morrisville beats East Forsyth 42-14. For
Mm.
man, I all I'll say is maybe that game against Grimsley wasn't as much of an outlier as we thought. Um, Richmond Senior beats West Forsyth 36-30. Reagan beats Lake Norman 24-21, and Northern Guilford beats Oak Grove 26-21. Brandon, I'll let you. We can kind of go through these games game by game. Um, we can start with that Grimsley game. It's not too much to talk about, but just what did 65-0? I
Yeah. Uh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what else? What do you really have to say about that? I mean, it's a butt whooping from start to finish. I mean, it
Start to
looks like Grimsley
finish.
just went out, did what they did, and they didn't even think twice about it. Southwest Guilford to not even put up a score. I would hope that Grimsley pulled out their starters third quarter, fourth quarter. At that point, the game's done. You would hope that your team can at least put up a score if you're Southwest, but obviously that didn't happen. I think that just proves once again how dominant this Grimsley team really could be and really is.
So I want to go back and say something because a lot of people brought it to my attention that before Grimsley's dominance like this, there was Charlotte Independence. But like that was back in like the 2000s. We were we weren't even 10 years old, and so it's like I wasn't
Yeah.
paying much of any attention to that. Um, and so as far as I've seen, I've just haven't seen a team like this is dominance. This is not because it's the way that they're handling the teams that they're supposed to, and then when they play some of the better teams in the state, they're beating them. And granted, like they had a good game to start the season. I think they got out. They won 28-27 to kick off the season. Um, but really since then they haven't had a challenge. Um, and I just do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing for a team? Because yeah, just do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
So it's a double-edged sword, right? Like if
Yeah,
you're going out and you're dominating the teams, it proves that you are as talented as you think you are, right? Like it
yeah,
proves to everybody that you can go out and compete with anybody. Now the flip side of it, or the other edge of that sword, is that if you do take a loss, you've never faced that adversity. You don't know how to bounce back from it. You don't know how your team's going to respond to it. So once again, Grimsley's been dominant for several seasons now. Have not taken very many losses. If they do end up taking one, it's going to be interesting it's going to be interesting to see how well they take it and like just overall how well they can bounce back from it.
Or just I think they have been down in a game, but I don't think they've been down 10 points, 14 points.
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
all right now, like we really this is adversity. Like like back in high school, we used to be running those hills, and Horton would just make us run extra hills just to say what you're gonna do when adversity comes. Like when adversity strikes, because it's
yeah,
going to strike. And so
yep,
when it happens, what are you gonna do? And I think, like you said, that's a good point. Um, you kind of want to know what you have, but I guess if you're really just that dominant, you don't even you're not even I guess looking for it. It's just hey, we need to continue to do what we doing. Let's not have mental lapses and keep playing football, keep stacking days.
yep,
Um, but then Huff Huff 55 53 to 15 Newbern. Newbern was I think coming into this game 24th in the state. Last week
hmm
I think they were 22nd. They only dropped a few spots after getting 50 hung on them last week. What is your message to your team, Brandon, after 2 weeks? You got more than 100 points put on you between the past two games. What do you say to your team? Because this isn't. I'm sorry. I understand this is a team, but I play offense. I didn't give up 50 fucking points. Like y'all didn't give me a chance. Y'all aren't even giving us a chance to win.
yeah,
Like we spoke last week. The number is somewhere between 24 and 28.
yeah,
What is your message to your team when y'all come out and give up 53 points or 52 weeks in
yeah.
a
I
row?
think the message, I think the message has to be outright. We need better out of the defense. I mean, I don't care. Obviously, 15 points from New Bern's offense isn't going to cut it, but
Yeah.
I think the bigger message still is like, hey, you gave up 50 points in each of the last 2 weeks. You guys have put us behind the eight ball big time. We need more out of you guys, right? And whether that
Yeah.
be through more film study or something that gives you a better preparation going into the following week, there needs to be something that's changed in the formula
Mm-hmm.
to help your defense feel more prepared. Because obviously, regardless of whatever the scoreboard says, it didn't look like or feel like they were prepared to
No
go into that
sir.
game
No
and
sir.
even compete. So, but the same thing should be said for the offense as well. 15 points, like we said, isn't going
Yeah.
to cut
That
it.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, so going back to your point, if your defense can hold in them less than the 24-point range, and your offense can score more than 24-point range, you should be fine. So both sides of the ball need to get on that same page.
Yeah. I think that's the whenever I see scores like this, and I think it's just because like we're offensive minded people. My brain goes to the defense was on the field too much. There were too many
Mm,
3 and outs on the offensive side of the ball. For you to put up
hmm
15, we talked about it, and I believe you said like we'll just call it 10 possessions. Like let's just say there are 20 possessions in the game. They split them 10 and 10.
Yep.
They scored on 50% of their possessions. You did less. I don't 15 points. I don't even. I'm gonna say you got a 2 point conversion, and you probably kicked the field goal on one or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your offense has to do more. It doesn't, and it's very difficult, especially in high school, to put together an 8, 10, 12 play drive. Just because
hmm
you on those kind of drives, you can't have penalties, no false starts, no holdings, no things like that, and so that can be a little bit difficult. And so, do you think it's a matter of matchups? Like they just have better athletes, because you have to have, especially in high school, you have to have those explosive plays. Explosive plays, especially especially nowadays, are really what makes the difference in games because just because teams aren't having to go on those long drives. But like, do you think
Yeah.
this was just a matter of athletes?
Yeah, I think it's a mix between athletes and probably coaching a little bit. Huff week in and week out plays a tougher schedule,
Yeah.
conference wise than New Bern. So they're more battle tested in that sense. So I guess from a coaching standpoint, they're probably a little bit more prepared or have seen better talent on the other side of the ball. But from the New Bern standpoint, you understand like, hey, we might be a really good team in the area, but there's other good teams on the other side of the state that they're going to come in and be going to
I
be
think
more
I think that's a
prepared.
big part of it. My bad. I don't really mean to cut you off, but I think that's a big part of it. I was out at West Craven. West Craven and New Bern played about 2 weeks ago.
Mm,
Big fight. New Bern ends up winning the game. The eastern part of the state runs the ball a lot. And
mm,
unless you have those guys up front to run the ball, you're not going to be able to. And unfortunately, what I've learned about the eastern part of the state, they have some talent out there, but overall the size of the guys, like it's not it when you start going to Raleigh, Charlotte, even Greensboro, like the Greensboro area, you're seeing not just the like the talent difference, but you're seeing just the time in the weight room, the preparation.
yeah,
Um,
yep,
and oftentimes, especially now in football, it comes down to the quarterback play, especially just with the way that we throw the ball now. And we talked about it last week. It's just going to be hard for a quarterback to outplay the quarterback on the other side for Huff, because Huff's quarterback is pretty damn good.
he's good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. You got anything else on this game?
Yeah, just going off what you were saying, the quarterback play is so important nowadays. Back in the
Yeah,
80s and 90s, the game was surrounding running backs. It was
yeah,
okay. I go to the NFL guys. You think about guys like Walter Payton, Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, all these guys that were really dominant running backs for their era. But now we're seeing the era of the quarterback. We
hmm,
get the Mahomes, we get the Lamar Jackson, we get Josh Allen, all these guys. It's definitely turned the football as a game as a whole has turned heavy more into heavier into a passing game than it is a
yeah,
running game to what it was 20 years ago.
yeah, most definitely, most definitely. But man, over there, staying in Charlotte, Malik Creek got the win over Cardinal Gibbons. This was what I would say is probably an early playoff matchup. These guys may Malik Creek might be 8A and Cardinal Gibbons maybe 7A. Um, but these are two playoff teams here, and I think you see it in that final score, 20-16. I think for Malik Creek, uh, it's just good to see them bounce back, um, especially after, like the way that they went down to Georgia and got beat, because that can be demoralizing for a lot of teams. So
Yeah,
to
big
see
time.
them really be able to in a close game, really come together and get the win, I think that's big.
Yeah, I agree. I think obviously both these teams, like you said, are very heavily involved and have been for the last probably 10 plus years now in the
Yeah,
playoffs, making deep runs year in and year out. Malik Creek obviously reaching back to when we were in high school. Cardinal Gibbons more recently though, but both these programs are known for being in tough dogfights week in and week out. And this was just another one of those cases here. I think Cardinal Gibbons is going to bounce back just fine. I think Malik Creek's going to move forward and continue winning games too.
yeah, most definitely. Um, and then Weddington beat Charlotte Catholic. Wasn't too much of a game. Uh, Weddington Weddington has been rolling this year. They seem like they're going to be right back where they have been for the past 5, 7, 10 years, competing for a state championship. We'll just have to keep an eye on them and see if they can get it done this year.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think Charlotte Catholic's just going to have to lick their wounds and just go ahead and go to the
Yeah,
next week. There's really not much you can
yeah,
say to the team after this one.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, there were a lot of ass whoopings in Charlotte this week. And and what was that bus ride back like? For each recite. What was that? You know, it
Oh
was a
Lord.
quiet one. You know, it was a quiet one. What was that bus ride back like for each recite after getting hit in the mouth, man? 42-14. That they dominated. It just seemed Mooresville dominated both sides of the ball. I
Yeah.
just I can't say anything more or less than that. You don't really see a Todd Willard team go out and get dominated because this is a line of scrimmage game too. Like this is offense the front seven against that offensive line, and it seemed like on both sides, just East not getting a push and you getting pushed back. Um, yeah. What you got on this?
Yeah, I completely agree. I was keeping up with the game a little bit. It looks like Eastern Side went up early, like similar to the Walkertown situation. But same thing as Reedsville and Walkertown. Looks like Mooresville just came back and just dominated the rest of the way after the being down quick. I think they got punched in the mouth. They took it and then they just absolutely brought the dog fight back out against Eastern Side. So yeah, like you said, I'm sure Willard's not too happy after this one.
But when you go back into trying to be careful with my words here,
Hmm.
it's not that you look at some of the games throughout the state, and some of these games are just so, one team has better athletes than the other. You look at East Forsyth. East has four, three, 4-star guys.
Yeah.
Does it come down to quarterback play? Is it play calling? Is it coaching? What? Once again, we're looking at 14 points put up by an offense through an entire game, and you said they got out first. They were
Hmm.
able to put points on the board first, and
Hmm.
what do you think puts a team with the talent of East Forsyth? Because I think JD is a transfer. This is his first year in the system. Just what do you think is the what do you think is going on? Like Grimsley now this.
Yeah. So to speaking on this specific Mooresville game, it looks like and sounds like offense was not clicking much outside of the first drive, right? Like whether it be play calling, whether it be quarterback play, whether it be coaching, like whatever the issue is, or could be a collection of all three.
Oh
It could
yeah,
just be like a snowball effect. You start down and then that leads into okay, now coach is trying to overcompensate for us being down 2 scores on the scoreboard. Now we're outright being outcoached and outplayed. Next thing you know, we're down
yeah.
what 35, 28 points at the end of the game. So, a collection of stuff, man, could be the issue. Like you said, I think it obviously, as we said at the beginning of this episode, it's the quarterback play that's most important nowadays in the offense. And I don't know how JD played last night, but it looks like the scoreboard, whether he played great or didn't play
Yeah,
great, it wasn't enough. So,
yeah.
I think Horton as offense coordinator, Willer as head coach, definitely have a lot of film to watch and a lot of soul searching to do after taking two tough losses back to back.
And I'm not sure. I wouldn't think so. But Mooresville's. I know a lot of teams went to conference this week. Mooresville's not a conference game.
Hmm. Correct.
Okay, okay. So you look at the loss to is Grimsley's not a conference game. Is it?
No.
Okay, okay. So your two losses come out of conference. You still have an opportunity. I guess everything is still ahead of you. But I think these are the two games that you really learn a lot about yourself, and you know if we're playing for a state championship this year or not. I don't necessarily think it's the end all be all because yes, teams get better throughout the year, but I think after two performances like this against two state championship level teams, I think like you said, there's going to be some soul searching and some tough conversations in that locker room.
Yeah. Big time. Big
Um,
time for sure.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, just overall, what was the score to the Grimsley game? How many points did Eastern Side put up in that one?
That oh man, I don't think it was. I can't even remember, but it wasn't too far off. Hold on, give me.
Yeah, I think it was 20. correctly. Like it wasn't pretty all the way
Yeah, it wasn't a
around.
pretty game. Yeah,
Yeah. So, but going off what you're saying, man, the non-conference games they still have everything in front of them. But as we know from being former Eastern Side players, their goal isn't a conference championship at the end of the day.
it's state
It's state
championship.
championship. So whether they win conference or not, that's great. Or if they don't, it's cool. That was never their goal at the end of the day anyway.
Yeah,
So,
East lost
like I
48
said,
to
everything
21.
48 to 21. Okay, so I mean, you put up 35 points in two games. You're still only averaging 17 points a game there. Really not great. Not the worst thing in the world, but not great.
But your defense
Um,
is averaging
yeah, man,
40.
it's rough, man.
Your
Rough,
defense is averaging 40, and
rough.
yeah, yeah, that's tough. Um, but East cross town, cross city, we'll go city. West rival West Forsyth also took a loss last night. To Richmond Senior. Had a little bit of a better game. Um, they would lose though 36-30. I didn't really
Mhm.
keep up too much with this one.
Yeah, this is Western Forsyth. This is also their second loss of the season, but this is also coming against Grimsley, who beat Eastern Side 2 weeks ago. They beat Western Side. Western Side's second loss, but it looks like
Mm.
Western Side is still going to be dominant. I mean, putting up 30 points against Richmond Senior, who has a really solid defense. Um, that if anything, that speaks to them and how well they are as an offense.
Yeah, I think not all losses are created equal, and if you look at the way that West Forsyth has played in those two losses, they have they put up more points than East did against uh, Grimsley. They played a
Hmm.
better game. Like it was a one possession game until like late in that game. Um,
Yeah,
and and so East is gonna have a real gut check. When I think they have to go to Clemens to play with West. I'm not sure if it's next week or not, but some questions will get answered. Um,
that's going to be a very highly anticipated game across the county here.
yeah,
Winston Salem, Kernersville, Clemens, everybody's going to be tuned into that game.
and for both teams though, this is a must win. Um, yeah, that game will be a must win.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think but you go look at another team that um I believe they just another team that is in that city that's going to be looking to compete for a state championship is Reagan. Um,
Hmm.
they got the win over Lake Norman last night, 24-21. Um, but I just think you kind of look at some of the better teams in that area. Um, I'm very interested in seeing what these conference standings look like at the end of the year.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Me too. And speaking on that, and speaking on the Richmond, or excuse me, not the Richmond, the Reagan game, quarterback play seemed to be better. I know we've talked about it before from the
Yeah,
Reagan quarterback, Jake Smith, who's committed to NC State to go play football and baseball, I believe. Um, he's been struggling football wise the
yeah,
last few weeks. I think Reagan only beat Oak Grove 7-6 or something
6.
ugly.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, so it's good to see that he's got at least another decent game under his belt. Hopefully, he can continue to build off that momentum.
yeah, definitely. But speaking of what you just said, does that make Northern's Guilford 26-21 win over Oak Grove last night? Is that an impressive win to you?
Impressive, not necessarily. If they were to beat him by about 10 more points, I would say, okay, yeah, that's pretty impressive. You go out and beat a team by 3, 4 scores, like yeah, like you got it. But that's still looking at that game. That's a 2 score game, 26-10. That's
Yeah,
it's a 2 score game. I mean, like you said, you handled the game by winning by 2 scores, but we expect Northern Guilford to go out and beat teams like Oak Grove by more than 2 scores.
but yeah, been up a little bit, a few more points, man. But that's all I got for high school. You got anything else?
Nah, that's all I got, dude.
Yeah, man. We gonna keep keep an eye on these scores as they start to roll in next week, because that it's starting to heat up around high school football, man. But it's week 4 around college football, and today we've got some good games. Um, Texas Tech and Utah. Actually, wait, before that, last week. Oh, I think my boy Brandon done disappeared. But last week in college football, bro, we got some. I just don't know what to say or make out of last week. Um, Florida looked terrible. I don't like that USF got knocked out of the top 25 just because they lost to Miami. Georgia probably had the game of the year. Notre Dame loses another one to Texas A&M, but they're somehow in the still in the top 25 as they're 0-2 to start the season. Vanderbilt beat South Carolina. Clemson might be frauds this year. Just Clemson might be frauds this year. But man, for this week, we got a good matchup between Texas Tech and Utah. I believe Texas Tech comes into this game ranked 17th, and Utah is ranked 16th. One second. Brandon. We still got some connection issues. Drew, if you could, all right, he got the full screen up. Texas Tech and Utah both coming to this game undefeated. You good, Brandon?
Yeah, I don't know what keeps going on with my Wi-Fi. Sorry about that.
Nah, you're good, man. Well, before we got into these games this week, I wanted to kind of touch on something last week.
Mm-hmm.
First question: do you think USF should have been knocked out of the top 25 after being beat by Miami?
What was the rank before the loss?
They were 18.
Honestly, I don't think so. Miami was a top 5 team in college
Yes.
football last week. I think they're top 4 again this week. So it's like, for you to lose to a top 5 team in the country and still put up a decent fight, does it deserve to knock you out of the top 25? I don't think so.
Notre Dame is ranked 24th after starting the season 0-2.
It might take another loss today.
It might take another one today.
Yeah, it's ugly, bro. It's ugly over there.
You know what? I will give them a little bit of respect because they played for a national championship last year. But nothing irritates me more about Notre Dame than the fact that these folks have respect off of national championships they won almost 50 years ago. 50. Like, we talking about national championships in the 80s. We're almost in 2026. Like, what the hell are we talking about?
True.
Georgia, Tennessee, they have the game of the year.
Ooh. It's top 3. It's gonna end up gonna be a top 3 conversation for sure.
Joey Aguilar might be that guy. Joey Aguilar might be that guy.
Only one incompletion against the Georgia defense, dude. Are we serious? Hey, shout out Tennessee's offensive coordinator scheme for just dominating, man. They kept him in that game, no doubt.
Oh, most definitely. But Gunnar Stockton is walking around with the biggest kahunas of the fucking weekend. God almighty. That boy, a lot of people question his ability after they lost some playoff games last year after Carson Beck, that whole situation they had. Gunnar Stockton's a fucking football player. Like,
yeah.
I don't know any other way to put it. He's a ball player. Art, Are Clemson? Do they fire Dabo?
No, I don't know if you saw his post
Yeah, he said
conference
he was gonna
or
fucking go
post
somewhere
interview.
else. Ah,
Yeah.
fuck you,
He's like,
Dabo.
if you want to fire me after winning 8 conference championships for you guys, putting you guys in the playoffs for what 9 out of the last 10 years or something crazy like
Clemson
that.
was
It's like if you
bad.
want to fire me off of that, then go ahead, right? Like I'm gonna go do it somewhere
Yeah,
else.
yeah,
But good luck. Good luck for a replacement. Essentially, what he said.
yeah. Because
He
before
basically
Dabo,
said,
they
"Y'all
were
need
bad.
me." He said, "Y'all need me more than I need y'all." So, yeah, but I don't think they're gonna let him go. But if he ends up losing a couple more, and probably would start being a conversation around it. But I don't think with how much success he's had over the last 10 years, they'll let him go.
They're gonna find some way to still compete for a damn ACC championship. It's inevitable. Like it is
Yeah.
inevitable. This is what Clemson does. This is what Clemson does. Yeah, this is what Clemson does. But this week, man, we got a good one. We got a good one to kick off that noon game. The noon. We actually
Hmm.
have some pretty good games in that noon slot. Um, we'll start with Texas Tech, Utah. Texas Tech spent the most money in the transfer portal this year.
Yep.
So I think this is very much where they expect to be. Utah lost their last year, lost their damn 8th year senior quarterback Cam Rising. So they struggled a lot last year, but this year they really turned it around. Due to I forget his first name, but Davenport, their freaking quarterback is pretty good too.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
who do you think pulls out this game, or like what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, like you said, I think it does need to be said that you're spending a lot of money NIL wise for players. Texas Tech, especially defensively, but from the Utah standpoint, they've been in that 10 to 20, top 10 to top 20 team in the country range for the last few seasons now. I think
Yeah.
even reached back into like COVID,
Oh
when
yeah.
Cam Rising like was starting to really kind of make a name for himself. So I think they have a lot of tenure within that spot. Texas Tech obviously bounces up and down a little bit more, but honestly, I think Utah is going to pull out the win here.
Yeah. I think so. I think so too. Um. Yeah. I think so too. But our next game, Clemson and Syracuse goes down to Clemson, man. And if Fran Brown has that Syracuse team ready to play, which I think he will, and they go into Death Valley and they beat Clemson, them Clemson fans might be more upset than I was as a Alabama fan. I I'll say that my level of frustration with Alabama has come down a lot after seeing Todd Simpson. It's not winning games, it's how they win games. It's going
Mm.
out and being dominant. Um, but Brandon, if you're a fan, a supporter, a donor of Clemson football, what do you need to see today against? Oh, I think my boy just got kicked out. But if you're Clemson, you can't lose this game. This is a must-win game for Clemson against Syracuse. Um, and I think if you're Syracuse, you're going in there to ruin their season, especially after you got them into the playoffs last year. Syracuse went and beat, I believe it was Miami, and they put Clemson into the position that they were to play for that ACC championship. But I think if you're Dabo, I don't even know if just winning the game is a yes, winning the game is mandatory, but you need some kind of style points or something to kind of bring you back and put you in this one, because you just look at first Dabo didn't want to recruit anybody out the portal. Okay, whatever, Dabo. Now he goes to recruiting people out the portal. Now they can't win it. They can't win. Like they're sitting at 15th in the ACC right now. 15? 15 is ridiculous. And after this week, you might have a win against Carolina. You got to go to Carolina, to Boston College. You have SMU at home, Duke at home, Florida State, you're not beating Florida State. Depending on the South Carolina team we get, they might not beat South Carolina. Clemson could end this season with another three losses, and if that's the case, Brandon, what do you think really has to happen for Clemson in this game? Like, do you think a win is enough, or do you think they need some style points on this win?
They need some style points for sure. And before I get into it, I'm going to call Spectrum after this and give him a real good ash to him because what the hell's going on? Either way. Sorry. So yeah, Clemson definitely needs to put up a lot of points in this game to satisfy and kind of get some of the I guess monkeys off their back if you want to use that term. But there's a lot of question marks around them, and for them to go out and put up a really dominant performance today would only help their case. But if they don't do it, I think those question marks are going to remain for sure.
I think the question marks start with Cade Klubnik.
Yeah.
Cade Klubnik has not had a game where he's thrown for more than 250 yards yet. Last week, he threw for 207. One of his receivers had 126 yards.
Ooh.
He threw for two. Brandon, as a receiver, as someone that played the position, if I'm not the one with that 126,
you're not.
Oh, you're talking about. You're talking. I want to look at the stats from this game because what? How many times did he throw the ball? Because they were losing the game too, and so it's like Cade Klubnik went 15 for 26 for 206. He averaged 8 yards a pass, and he threw an interception. I don't know, man. I don't know. Clemson has to win this game. That's all. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
It's a must win for sure. It's
win.
A must win. And yeah, if you're throwing the ball, if you're putting the ball in the air almost 30 times, you're going to need more than 200 yards to account for
it. And damn, not one receiver have 126.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure 126 was loving it, but everybody else is like, well, I got one target since the first quarter. What the hell's going on? So
he had 7 catches. He had 7 of the 15 completed passes. Not another receiver had more than 3.
That's right.
Whatever. Michigan travels to Nebraska. If Nebraska wants to return to relevancy, this is a game they got to win. Matt Rule has not been able to win those big games at Nebraska since getting there. Brandon, what do you think this is one they'll pull out?
Personally, I don't think they will. I think Michigan is going to be just fine in this game. This is actually going back to week 1 of the podcast here, where we were talking about the Michigan head coach pulling himself out as a self-inflicted suspension. This is the second game of his self-inflicted suspension. And shout out, his name is Biff. I'm blanking on his last name. He used to be the UNC Charlotte head coach for 2 seasons before he went back to Michigan, and he's now the interim for obviously the game in week 1, and then obviously this game in week 4.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be on the sideline taking over today. Nebraska is an unranked team. I think Michigan's gonna be just fine.
Yeah, and unranked is where I think they should be, because I remember about a year or 2 ago when they played Colorado, I believe both teams were ranked in this game, like Colorado and Nebraska. And then neither of them need to be, because after that game, both of their seasons went down the damn toilet. So
off the rails completely.
Yeah. So I think if Matt Rule, I think he's going to, just because Nebraska's been so bad, he's going to be okay for a while winning 7, 8, maybe 9 games in the season. But if he wants to get into that upper echelon, these are the games that they have to start winning.
Yeah.
But then we got an SEC matchup. Auburn will travel to Norman, Oklahoma, where I think this game is going to tell us a lot about both teams for the rest of the season. Because you have Oklahoma that's really been able to turn around their season. Because Brent Venables, to start the season, was on the hot seat, and I think that's a big reason why Clemson hadn't been winning because he left. But Brent Venables was on the hot seat, but John Mateer has come in and revitalized him and given him a new a breath of fresh air. Um, but what are your thoughts on this one? Who you got?
Yeah, Mateer is a top dog right now. He's
Stud.
actually one of the favorites in the Heisman running. I know we're still so week 4. We're talking about the Heisman. Like, yeah,
Heisman.
dog.
It's never too early.
He never too early. Never too early. But no, in the last 9 games, the quarterback for Oklahoma has put up a passing and a rushing touchdown in each of the 9 games, reaching back even into last season. I think if he could to continue that path, they will be just fine in this game. I think if he gets a rushing and a passing, Oklahoma will pull out the win. If he's forced to limit one of his abilities between the rush and the pass, if Auburn were to limit him in that sense, I think Auburn has a pretty good shot. But overall, I
Yeah.
think Oklahoma will get the win here.
Oh yeah, you can't let Mateer throw for 250 and then rush for another 80. Like,
Yeah.
cause boy, will he will do it. And but I mean the strength of this Auburn team this year is supposed to be their defense. But I think especially after that Baylor game, I did not like. I'm pretty sure they handled Baylor pretty well in that game.
Mm.
But I think Baylor kind of showed me some things in that. Yeah, they there were times where Sawyer Robertson for Baylor was able to do things that I just did not think that he should. And when we talked about quarterback play is the biggest thing in college football. Quarterback play and ability to rush the passer. And we
Yeah.
gotta be able to do it. Um, and so I think we're just gonna, like I said before, we're gonna get a lot of answers in this conference matchup. But then a Florida a big matchup for Florida after. Man, a lot of people are turning on DJ Lagway, and I don't appreciate it. A lot of people are turning on DJ Lagway, and I don't appreciate it. Has he played some not good football? Yes, but let's understand that he's also a true sophomore.
Yep.
There's some things where you would like to see the growth. I don't think it is. A lot of people talking about his ability and inability to read a defense. I don't think that's what it is because, and we even talked about it in high school. There are too many times where things happen that are the receiver's fault that people just at home watching the game look at what the hell was the quarterback doing.
Yeah, they would never know that it's the receiver's fault
Never,
there.
never. And it could be something as simple as going a yard, 2 yards too deep or too short in the route. And because offense is about timing, it's about timing, rhythm and timing, and the slightest things can throw it off. But who you got in this one, Brandon?
Yeah, Miami's looking too dominant over these last couple weeks, and Florida has struggled in that sense of offensive production and
Yeah,
execution. Now, granted, the strength of Florida's team is their defense. They held LSU even after I think Florida's offense turned over the ball what 4 or 5 times,
yeah, they had a
and
tough
they
day.
still only held LSU to 20 points. I mean, it was a one-score game up until like the last 3 minutes of the game. So um, if Florida's defense were to go out and dominate like they did last week, I think they have a chance. But I mean, once again, they're playing another top 5 opponent in Miami, just the same way they were less than 7 days ago against
Yeah,
LSU. So I think Miami's going to get the win here at home against an in-state rival.
yeah. I think what you said was big though. This Miami isn't the void isn't well Florida isn't the void of talent going into this game. So
Yep.
they have, while it looks rough for them, they have the ability to still come back and compete in these games and win an
Oh,
SEC
for sure,
championship. I
for
don't
sure.
I don't I don't count Florida out, especially with DJ Lagway at quarterback because they almost beat Georgia last year before he got hurt. I think DJ Lagway is one hell of a football player, but as bad as I want to take Florida, I think I'm gonna have to take Miami in this one.
Yeah.
And then a good old Big Ten matchup, man. Some good old 2 yards in a cloud of dust football. uh, Illinois will go out to Indiana. I believe this is a top 15 or top 20 matchup. Um, yeah, Illinois is ninth in the country, and Indiana at 19. Um, what you got for? I think Brent Villema and those boys with dang, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Quarterback for Illinois. I think they're gonna go out. It comes down to quarterback play, and I think they've got the better quarterback.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. From the Illinois standpoint, they're top 10 in the country for a reason. I think this is a great opportunity for them to
Yeah,
go out and improve it. And for Indiana, it's a good opportunity for them to show why they need to be higher. But I think overall, Cincinnati, the head coach for Indiana, he's coming from James Madison. I think we mentioned that before. He's still pretty new in terms
yeah,
of in coaching this high of a level of football. Obviously, he's done it for the Power Four and whatnot, but for him now stepping to the Big Ten and be a top 20 team in the country, he's got to go out and prove it. This is going to be a really big test for him. But I think Illinois at the end of the day will get the win here.
yeah. I think he learned a little bit last year. About I think he learned a little bit about what big time football really is.
Mhm.
Not trying to disrespect, downplay any Group of Five FCS football, not whatsoever. Um, and because he won at those levels, but boy, Indiana got it handed to him last year. And I because I will never forget though. He said we don't just beat top 25 teams, we beat the shit out of them. And
Mm.
boy, they beat the shit out of you. And so,
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, yeah. But I think Illinois will pull this one out, man. But now over in the NFL, the NFL, man, we had a good. I don't know how I feel about this week three. This week three, starting with okay. Does Tua Tagovailoa? Is it time for him to be done?
Is it time? No, because if it's not Aaron Rodgers' time to be done yet, it's not Tua's time to be done yet.
I Aaron Rodgers though, like I feel okay. We we understand people have God given abilities. Like Aaron Rodgers, he was put on this earth to throw. Like that right
Yeah,
arm for that man will be 80 years old and still be able to throw some shit. Like
yeah. Just flick it out there.
that right arm, and I just don't like Tua's never had that arm strength, the arm talent. His talent was in his accuracy. But damn, it looks like he put his whole fucking soul into a 7 yard pass
Yeah,
just for it to get picked off and go the other way.
yeah.
I don't. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's I like yeah, I would agree with you. I don't necessarily think it's his time to be done, but I also think that that offense like you got an offensive genius in Mike McDaniels. Offensive genius in Mike McDaniels. You
Hmm.
have Tyreek Hill. There was a play last week or Thursday. There was a play this past Thursday on an out route Tyreek Hill ran, and Tua just floated it, just sailed it over his head, and it's like those are the easy incompletions we need, man.
Yeah.
But what were your kind of thoughts on that game?
Yeah, so I mean, watching the game from Thursday, it looks like the Bills are going to be dominant as always. We knew
Yeah,
that after they beat the Ravens in Week 1 in the shootout, um, but for them to still continue to prove that they're in those big time games for a reason, and not only just in them, but really winning them
yeah.
convincingly. I think they'll be fine this season. But focusing on the Dolphins, it wasn't like they played a bad game overall. I mean, they're
No,
on the
no, they
road.
did,
They only lost by 10 points, which is a
but
very respectable
but
loss.
Tua went into Tua had less than 100 passing yards in the first half. He went
Hmm.
into the fourth quarter with like less than 150.
Hmm.
That's concerning.
Yeah,
That's concerning.
yeah, for sure. And I don't know what the issue is per se exactly in Miami. Could it be GM and president? Could it be head coach? Could it be Tua? Like once again, combination of all three.
Concussions.
I think they're all just not on the same page. I think McDaniel's starting to feel the pressure of like, hey, my job might be on the line after this next loss. You know what I mean? They're 0-3
Maybe.
now at this point. So I don't
Just
know how
maybe.
much longer they stick with McDaniel after the continuous kind of downhill slope over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they were good. They were good 4 years ago. This was a good
They're
football
great. They're a
team.
playoff team.
Yeah. Yeah. But man, Chiefs Giants. This is a must win for both teams. Chiefs Giants. My boy Russ was cooking last week. Russ went for 450 and was cooking last week. Looking like he went looking like an old Russ. He was looking like the old Russ. Man,
Prime.
what who do you think pulls this one out?
Oh man! As much as I want to say the Giants, and as much as I would love to see the Chiefs take an L, especially with fucking Matt Nagy as their offensive coordinator, I think they're
Yeah.
going to pull it out. I think they took a couple tough losses early against really quality opponents, but I don't think they're going to lose against the Giants.
Well, yeah. I mean, I kind of want the Chiefs to start off 0-3 so we can say they don't even have a chance to make the playoffs. Um,
Yeah,
because number 15, you just give them a chance. You just give them a chance, and then whether it's wild card, conference, divisional, it don't matter.
it don't
If
matter.
he there, he got a chance to win,
You
and
got
I
to.
don't even want him to have a chance to win. So, although the Giants are in the conference, I want the Giants. Or in our division, as a Washington fan, I want the Giants.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, we got a good game between the Ravens and Lions. Who you got?
That's a tough one. I think the Lions are coming off a huge win last week. They put up 52 points on, unfortunately, my Chicago Bears. But
Hold
the
on. On
Ravens
who?
have
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Who was that?
we'll skip over that actually. So going, but no, from the Ravens standpoint, Derrick Henry did not play great last week. He had a
Yeah,
very uncharacteristic game on. I think he had 11 rushes for only like 30 something yards and a fumble, which is like who is this guy? But I think they're going to bounce back in style. I think the Ravens are actually going to pull out the win here. I think it'll be close, but I think it'll be a one or two score game somewhere in there. But I think the Ravens get the win.
yeah, definitely. Rams, Eagles. That's going to be a good game, and that's an early playoff matchup. Honestly, though, like the Eagles, they don't do it pretty, but they find ways to win games.
Yeah.
Last week, Jalen Hurts had less than 150 passing yards.
Mhm.
At the end of the game, they found a way to get the win, and it's just in the NFL. That's just what it's all about. But who you got in this one?
Yeah, this is like you said, this is a classic playoff rivalry that we've been seeing over the last few seasons. The Eagles have
Yeah,
pulled out the win the last couple of times, but once again, you said talking about Mahomes, if 15 has a chance, he's going to make a play. I think it's the same thing being said over there in LA with number nine, with
and
Stafford at
Stafford.
quarterback.
Staff-
He's been doing it for a long time. He's been
is he a
great for a
Hall of
long time.
Famer?
Yes,
First ballot,
yes.
undoubtedly.
First ballot, I don't know, because him,
Can't
him and Matt Ryan are kind of in that same conversation. It's like, well, I
Brandon,
would say Stafford does have a
Brandon.
ring though. He does have a
Yes,
ring though.
yes.
But yeah,
And Matt Ryan was the reason why they lost games. Matthew Stafford was the reason why they were even in football games in Detroit.
that's a very good point. Very good point. Uh, Man, it's tough. But yeah, I think if the Eagles come out and do their thing today, I think they get the win. But if there's even just a little bit of slack from the Eagles side, it would not surprise me if the Rams get the win.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Broncos Chargers. Broncos
It's a
Chargers. I'm a
it's a high powered offense matchup here.
This is a
Broncos super
coaching game.
mix. Yeah, big time coaching game. Uh, Sean Payton over there at the Broncos and Harbaugh over in the Chargers. Those guys have been doing it at a high level for
High
a
level. Yeah,
long
this
time,
yeah.
very long time now. So schematically, we're not going to see anything that's going to. Well, excuse me, I should say we are going to see things that are going to make us say, "Wow!" Be like,
Mm.
What's that? What's the concept there?" Both of those offensive minded guys are going to do great.
And
But
hopefully it's not running
overall,
into the snapper on a damn field goal. God
yeah, hopefully not.
almighty.
But I think the Chargers here. I think with Herbert, how well he's been playing, obviously with a
Yeah,
very gorgeous girlfriend in Madison Beer, I'm gonna take the Chargers.
yeah. I want the Broncos to win just because of the way they lost last week, bro. Like that
Yeah,
was that like he missed the first one, and then you telling me we got to do it over again because somebody ran into this guy holding the snapping the football. All right,
yeah.
might as well give him the win at that point. Might as well just
Just
give
give it
it
to him.
to him,
Give
and
it to
that's
him.
what they did. Um, I'll touch quickly on this Raiders Commanders game. Of course I'm gonna take the Commanders, but it's just we got Marcus Mariota playing this week. I appreciate what the organization is doing, sitting out Jaden Daniels because we saw the same thing happen about 10 years ago with RG3, and his
Hmm.
and we saw it took our organization right back into the hellhole that Washington was. And so yeah, I'll just say I appreciate this, and I'm not looking for Marcus Mariota to go out there and throw for 250, 300 yards. Just execute the offense, hell, and get Bill, Jaheim, Merrick Cross get the ball some more, please.
Yes, yes. They definitely need to feed their rookie running back there. I need him on my fantasy team.
Yeah, man, your Bears though, y'all got Dallas coming into town. Y'all, how we feeling, man? An 0-2 star. We're looking like the same old Bears. Unfortunately, like that was an ass whooping last week. Um, where do you go from here if you're Ben Johnson?
I think you have to stay the course. As a first-time head coach in Ben Johnson in a new system,
Yeah,
he's
I
still
agree.
figuring out the kinks. The Bears as a whole have gone through what, three head coaches in 4 years. I mean, it's the same formula. Hopefully, they can just keep Ben Johnson, keep some key players around so they can build. That's going to be the biggest thing. If you just collect a few wins this year and you
Yeah,
continue to build into next season, then the season after that, now you're talking being a playoff team. I think that's got to be the message. But it has to start with getting small wins throughout the season. And this is a very winnable game this week and next week. If you can, sure, you start off 0-2, could arguably be a 1-1, maybe even 2-0 if things go your way, right? But if you can turn the ship and go 2-2, but by the time you're going into the bye week, which is week 5 for the Bears, you have a very doable situation going forward after that.
yeah,
You might not be able to go out and dominate the rest of the season, but you're going to get a few more wins. But if you go 0-4, it's going to be very hard
that's
to
tough.
turn your team back around at that point.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, that's tough. Who loses their job first, Caleb Williams or Ben Johnson?
Neither one of them are sticking around for the next 15 years, both of them.
After this season,
Losing
Caleb
their
Caleb
job first,
Williams.
though, probably Ben Johnson. I think
Really,
Caleb,
I think it's
whether
Caleb.
really,
I think because, I mean, y'all's granted his first head coach was a defensive coordinator to
mm,
make it make sense.
yeah,
But we've given you one of the best play callers, the best offensive coordinators in the game. And while I think we have seen some improvement, I don't think I've seen enough. And hell, bring Justin back. Bring Justin
yeah,
back.
yeah. I saw a thing where Justin Fields' last 8 games for the Bears, they actually went with a winning record, had like a 1,500 yards, something crazy like that, and so many
Leading the
touchdowns,
team
so
in
many
rushing.
turnovers. Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, that's a separate issue, right? Like,
Yeah.
but then you compare it to Caleb's last 8 games, and it was completely night and day difference between Fields and Caleb. Obviously, Fields was 3 4 seasons into the Bears organization at that point. I think Caleb, once he gets to that point, he'll be a better quarterback than what we saw in Justin
Hopefully.
Fields. But we'll have to just once again keep coaches in place, keep players in place, and we'll be fine.
I agree. Can't keep doing this revolving door at both positions though.
Yeah,
Oh man. But I'm good, man. You got anything else for us?
that's all I got for today, Brody.
No D2, D3 shout outs today.
Let's see. No, I got one next week. Next
All
week,
right.
Mary Hardin Baylor, Texas D3 powerhouse traveling up to North Carolina to play Mars Hill. So I'll be on the lookout for that one.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That should be a good one. Oh man. But Hey, if y'all enjoyed the show, make sure you hit the like button, you subscribe to us on YouTube, and drop who y'all want to be the game of the week next week, and even some predictions. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, talking more football. Man, appreciate y'all.